After the Fall is one of the most anticipated online multiplayer VR games of 2021. We sat down with community manager TamTu to get a better picture of what the game might look like, starting with its inspirations, which aren't too far from home.
Arizona Sunshine has been a huge learning lesson for everything that we've done with After the Fall. One of the things that really stood out with Arizona Sunshine was that people really enjoyed the Horde mode, right? And that supported up to 4-player co-op. And that quickly became one of the core pillars for After the Fall. We really wanted to make sure that After the Fall would support 4-player co-op overall from the beginning. Of course, we looked at other games, and the team plays a lot of also non-VR games, so that they get inspiration from the other zombie shooters. That we obviously look at them, we play them, and we see how some ideas, how they could work for After the Fall and how they wouldn't. Just narrowing it down to what After the Fall is now is it's thanks to a lot of inspiration from other games. The team really wanted to make something that they enjoy playing themselves, right? So that was also the core thought behind it in the whole process.
So we know After the Fall is a multiplayer title, but what about a campaign? Will there be any sort of structure like that attached to it?
We do have a campaign in After the Fall, which serves more as a onboarding of the total After the Fall experience, right? So once you play through that, you have a good sense of this is After the Fall, this is how you play it. Then once you clear out a mission, then you can go back to it with increased difficulty or add modifiers to it to boost your drop rate for currency or whatever that you need. So you will always have a reason to go back to them. And the variety is, as we've mentioned before in the videos, that we have an AI director that changes the spawns of enemies. So the levels may retain the same, but the spawns might be different. Also, depending on the player's choices of difficulty, that changes as well. The launch of After the Fall is only the beginning of the game, where we already have new content in production, like extra mission maps that will branch out the story a bit more and give players more options to go through. And we're thinking about expanding that a lot, and I believe we really have a cool sandbox already to play around with. 4 to 5 hours will be mostly spent on onboarding on the experience After Fall, and then it's you can't really put a number on that because it really depends on how long it takes for them to fully upgrade a certain weapon, right? On average, I think we've clocked people around their first playthrough maybe around 20 minutes to complete a full run, and maybe longer to really, if they really explore everything. But once you really if you have a purpose of going into it, it's if you know what you want to do, if you have clear goals, hey, I want to farm loot, I know where to get certain items, then you can honestly sort of speed run through it, and then you'll be knocking off 10 minutes off of it easily. Not a lot of people can stay in VR for too long, so we don't want to draw out the sessions for too long.
Now for the real reason we're here. What about the online multiplayer social experience?
There are a lot of gameplay opportunities that we explored, and sharing ammo and sharing healing items is definitely a thing that we have in After the Fall that we included. People were doing it in Arizona Sunshine by just equipping the clip and just dropping the clip so anyone else could pick it up. So we fine-tuned that to make it more organic in After the Fall. We've seen people actually following the natural leader of the session generally, and it's something that just naturally occurs, as you mentioned. So the whole VR part of it, people feel more into it, so they act more into it. And of course, we have voice communications that allow for that to be more part of it. The social interactions is also in the hub area of the game. That's where you actually see people walk around. It comprises of a mix of actually people from different platforms. So you can see someone walking around, and you as a PC player could be interacting with someone playing on a quest, for example. And we felt it was really important to have that hub area as well to enhance the social interaction as well, outside of combat, but also in the moments between missions and stuff. The hub area is a dedicated space for non-combat activities. So you can find all the matchmaking there, and an area where you can modify your weapons, and that's also a non-combat activity that is dedicated to that area. So there's always a reason to keep playing, but also a reason to go back to the hub to unload your gear or just upgrade your gear if you've gotten new loot or whatever. It's a huge part of the gameplay loop in After the Fall.
That's all well and good, but there's not much point to the game if there's no reason to come back to it. So what's the team doing about replayability?
So something we noticed about Arizona Sunshine is that despite being quite light on post-launch content, people kept coming back to just replay the campaign. It's definitely something we wanted to achieve with Afterfall as well, but also give them, let's say, a gameplay reason to come back to, right? So we will have a attachment system for the weapons where you can change the weapons around a little bit so they have either more ammo or they have a different firing type. So to customize your gameplay, if you find out that, hey, I really like using an auto rifle, but I don't like the way it's continuous fire, then you can go and farm for a attachment that will change its firing mode, for example. So that's the chase that we want to introduce with Afterfall. Like I said, there are rewards in the game, right? And they are actually certain tiers of rewards are tied to difficulty. So we want the player to naturally get better at the game so they can tackle higher difficulty, so they can get better rewards, so they can get better guns. And it's very in sync with each other. And even if you just are struggling at a certain difficulty, then fine, you can just still go and play and enjoy like the normal difficulties, and the experience would be the same. And yeah, generally, like in RPGs, usually if you're under-leveled for something, you stay at a certain area for a while and you grind until you're strong enough. And I think that's something that will be the same for Afterfall as well, with the difficulties there.
Of course, the launch later this year is just the start for After the Fall. Vertigo has much more planned for the future.
We do have a slew of free updates that will be coming in that will be part of like just system updates, like quality of life updates. We want to make sure that the game that people jump into is like it's fun to play, and that any bugs that might be there won't stay there for a long time, but that they get fixed soon enough. And combine that with frequent content drops that we have. Some of it is paid, so think of the new maps that I was talking about. Those would be paid, but the overall experience, you should still be able to jump in and like have access to new weapon types that we may introduce later on in this sandbox. It's really also sort of up to the player to see the player base to see, hey, how's the reception to Afterfall, and what activities do they really like, and what feedback do they give us. So still some freedom for us to pivot on certain things in the development post-launch to cater to the audience a bit more, but also retain our vision. So it really depends on how the game will be received. Yeah, it will always be a risk if you invest so much time. Like especially the expectations for Afterfall are sky high, and but we're very confident about meeting those expectations.
Check back with UploadVR.com for the latest on After the Fall, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button for the latest in VR too.